Hi and welcome to Planes on a Friday, and what I've got is a simulator transmitter and some flight simulator software for flying radio control models, and I thought this would train me to land and also give me a lot more practice when the weather isn't so good. Now actually what I got was an 8-channel USB radio control flight simulator controller, and it says here for FEM, NIX, FMS, etc. I also got Phoenix RC Flight Simulator CD, but it also contains this one, RealFlight 7, and that's the one I've managed to get operating. Now you'll need these serial numbers down here and these serial numbers on the CD as you load up the RealFlight software. What I found with the controller was that the throttle control, which is on a ratchet so it stays put wherever you put it, was on the right hand side. So I literally had to undo 4 screws here, take it apart, and then inside each stick had another 4 screws, and I swapped them over. Now the leads inside weren't long enough to fully stretch, so that meant they were upside down. That doesn't matter though, because you calibrate this transmitter using the software. So now I'm running up the RealFlight 7 software. There may be other versions of RealFlight 7, it says there are newer ones, and this is the version I've got. Run RealFlight, and that will open up a scenario. Now it has various sort of areas you can fly in and various sort of plane models you can use. An awful lot actually, ranging from trainers to advanced jets, helicopters, drones, all sorts. So up here it says simulation, select controller. See there it says calibrate. You would select that, and then that allows you to set the controls, each channel for each movement of the stick. You can also reverse them. You will need to put each stick into its maximum left and right and up and down positions to calibrate it. And also move all of these little controls, turn all of the dials, and all of those will do something. This one, for example, is undercarriage. I've just dropped the undercarriage on that Flying Fortress. If any of the controls are reversed, for example my ailerons were, you can press something on the calibrate page to reverse that operation. Now a lot of these functions on here are dummies. These trims and the on-off do not actually function at all. This is purely a simulator, a training transmitter. It has the look and feel of a real transmitter. That's why I wanted it. You can use another transmitter, a proper transmitter with the right connections though instead. Now I haven't gone through the complete loading up procedure because I didn't know I could do it while I was doing it, and now I've done it, it's all set, so I can't actually show you that. All I can tell you is what I've done. So if you do get one of these transmitters and you do get one of these discs, that should be enough to get you going on RealFlight 7. I haven't been able to get Phoenix going yet, it won't recognise the transmitter. I think that will work better with a real transmitter and put a lead in it. If you can get a lead, because you'll need to get that lead separately, and then you can use a regular transmitter to fly Phoenix. But anyway, I'm quite happy with RealFlight. As I say, once you've loaded in all those serial numbers, and there's about half a dozen or more, then you'll need to calibrate the transmitter in the RealFlight 7 software. There are other things you can do. You can set the quality of the video and even failures on the aircraft, so you can tell it to fail sometimes, always, and it could be a structural failure or an engine failure. So I'm quite impressed with this software, the RealFlight 7, it's quite good. So let's show you some of the simulation scenarios. this is beginner airplane training, and I've got a simple little aircraft there. And what I'm going to do is just zoom out a little bit so you can see me flying this thing. I'm going to give it some throttle, I pull back on the elevator stick, and then we're away. I can do a quick roll, and I can also do a loop, not even full throttle. It's managing that quite nicely. I think you can record these scenarios. There's a recordings selection up the top there. And I can record my whole flight if I want to. Now, I bounced off the floor there. I'm going to attempt a landing. So I'm going to fast forward. Here I am coming in for a landing. And that was quite a nice landing, wasn't it? I don't know how well you can see that, but I've landed quite nicely. You can do beginner helicopter training. There is a carnival where you can fly a little aircraft at night, that's quite fun. A catapult launch off an aircraft carrier, soaring off of a cliff top. Some construction site shenanigans. You can change the plane though within each scenario. So if I go around here, we should see the construction site, I think. And there's plenty of obstacles to hit if you want to, or you can try and fly through them. The thing is, I find it's quite hard to judge the distance. Well, I think I'm going to hit it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I've gone past it or not. Can't tell if I've gone through it or I think I'm behind it now. Now this teaches you to go really gentle on the controls. Oh, I flew over it. You can do flying over water, so you've obviously got aircraft with skis, quads, Scale Mustang, that's particularly nice. Let's have a little fly at that. Oh, let's put the undercarriage up. That's it. Undercarriage is up. These are actually very difficult to see because the way it's set is if you're flying a model aircraft, so obviously you're sort of standing there on the ground and the plane can get far away from you very quickly. Now I can't tell where these trees are. I can't tell if I'm behind them or in front of them. Right. Put the undercarriage down. Now I'm really slowing the aircraft down. I don't mind if I land on grass. Oh, a bit bouncy. I'm going to have to overshoot. There's too many trees. And this is quite different. And you can rotate the throttles using a rotational channel, and then you use the throttles as well. So undercarriage up, and let's go into forward flight. There we go, now we're flying like a real aircraft. Really cool. We're crashing like a real aircraft as well. I'm now back at beginner airfield, but the thing is, I mean you can actually select the airfields from there, select airport, but I'm going to select my aircraft. So let's go with a Spitfire. Just got to find it, there it is. We'll fly that. Undercarriage up. That's it, undercarriage up now. Got my undercarriage down. Do a close pass. Off the throttle. Oh, did a bouncy landing. I'm going to get her down. There you go. So I've landed. This is called the Junkyard, and this is quite a good one. Make sure your controls are set correctly. Undercarriage in the down position and throttle low. That's normally how you start, obviously. Yeah, load in a minute. Now I've got the Spitfire here. There's lots of obstacles here. Let's just take you around the scrapyard by flying the Spitfire around in a circle. And I think there's some quite pretty scenes here. Spitfire's of course very tiny dot just up there. It'd be hard for you to see, but there's also a plane scrapyard which is pretty cool. Let's select some more places and some more planes. So this is a water scene, so I've selected a plane with floats, obviously, and there's a nice little shipwreck there. Now, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'll knock my floats off. Hey! Let's do that again then. Can select colour schemes. I can't tell where that plane is in relation to that boat. I nearly flew through the masts, but didn't. But I have flown through them. This plane's quite good. It has streamers. That looks very pretty. You can do plenty of stunts and it looks lovely. The nice thing with streamers is you can see what you're doing, and it shows where you've been. It's kind of quite good fun. Of course, you can take risks flying close to the ground that you couldn't normally take unless you've got a little foamy. This is a Yak with streamers, and I think it's one of the loveliest flying models. And really, it's how they fly that is one of the most important factors. Also how they look, the Spitfire and the B-17, there's a B-25 Mitchell, there's some jets on here, the F-16, the F-15, there's loads. Isn't it fun? Oh, software stalled then, just as I was bringing it down for a landing. There we are, disappeared in a plume of smoke. So for 50 to 60 pounds I got a bit of train in software for my radio control model airplane, so I do recommend it. A lot of fun.